Hi, I'm Liza and you're at home with ImagineIF. We're going to do some more kitchen chemistry. In fact, we're going to have an introduction to acid-base chemistry right on the kitchen counter. All right, you ready? Acids and bases, what are those? You may have heard of acids, but you might not have heard of bases. So about 300 years ago, a smart Irish dude first started labeling things, substances, as being either acids or bases. And he identified acids as sharing some common properties. He noticed that they taste sour, that they react with metals, and that they turned his litmus indicator red. And that is just something that he made out of lichen and a substance, and he noticed that it goes red with acids. Bases, on the other hand, he noticed that they taste bitter, they feel slippery, and they turn his litmus indicator blue. So, first of all, why was this guy tasting chemicals? Don't do that. We shouldn't be doing that. I'm glad he also used his indicator. That's a much better way to test. But that was as far as he got. But later scientists did a lot more work with this kind of chemistry, and they figured out that it has something to do with hydrogen ions. Actually, they know what it has to do with, but we're not going to get into too much into hydrogen ions. But depending on how these substances behave with their hydrogen ions, makes a substance either an acid or a base. And it's pretty neat to know which one a substance is. But really, is that neat? Have you ever wanted to do this? Have you ever wanted to do experiments at home where you dip things into other things and they change color? Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Like in the pool where the lifeguard puts a little strip of paper in to check the acidity of the water to make sure it's safe for you. I think it would be pretty cool to have something like that guy's litmus indicator at home, right? You could do all kinds of experiments. You could test everything, find out if it's an acid or a base. But we don't have litmus paper at home, right? But we might be able to get our hands on a red cabbage. Seriously. Red cabbage has a substance in it that works as a really good acid-base indicator. So I'm going to show you how to make your own acid-base indicator from red cabbage. Okay. All right, so this is what you're going to need for your cabbage indicator. You're going to need some red cabbage, which looks more purple than red. That's okay. And about a cup of water, a blender, and a strainer or a sieve, something to strain our cabbage juice through. And I've got some spoons here, which we'll need in a little bit, and I've got some little dishes that we'll need for our experiments. So start out by pulling a few leaves, 3 or 4 leaves off of your cabbage, and then tear them up into somewhat smaller pieces and put them in your blender. My blender is a little bit puny, so I have to chop them up a little bit small. And then you're going to pour your water in, a cup of water. Put your lid on your blender. Don't make that mistake. Oh geez, there we go. Like I said, my blender's a little bit puny, so I have to stop it and poke things down our way through. Alright. It's looking pretty good. Alright. So, then we're going to strain. I'm going to put my cabbage back there. We're going to strain our juice to get rid of all the big chunks. Now you're probably going to want to strain your whole blender full, but since I'm only going to do a couple of experiments with you, I'm not going to strain all of mine. I'm just going to strain some, but I am going to smush this down, because you want as much of the good cabbaginess to come through the strainers as you can. Now, one of the things that you may know about cabbage, if your family cooks cabbage ever, is it's quite stinky. And it's stinky whether you cook it or whether you just chop it up into little bits. So your cabbage indicator is going to smell very strongly of cabbage. All right, that's pretty good. I'm whisking my other 2 spoons. So it's a little bit frothy right now, so you might want to let yours settle down, but I am going to go ahead and not make you wait. I'm going to just pour a little bit. Maybe I'm going to get rid of. That's pretty good. Try not to get too much froth. Oh, that's quite a lot of froth in there. And then the last one. And that one. I'm going to pour that one back in there. That is too frothy for me. That's better. All right, so now we've got 3. They're all the same. This one in the middle, we're going to leave as being our control. So that one we're going to just leave the same. But the other 2, I'm going to put lemon juice into this one. I'm going to put baking soda into this one. And these actually, I'll put it that way. This is going to be just as an example, just to show you how to do these experiments. So hypothesis time. Is this lemon juice an acid or a base, do you think? If it's an acid, it's going to turn our indicator in the red end of things. If it's a base, it's going to turn it blue, all right, bluish greenish. So let's see. All right, I added quite a bit because I want you to see it nice and clear. What do you think? Acid or base? Wow. Clearly an acid. And that makes sense, right? Lemon juice, citric acid. No prizes for guessing what you think this is going to do. Baking soda. I'm not going to show you acid twice, right? So this, you could probably already guess. This is going to be a base. But let's look at the color. I'm going to do, this is a half teaspoon. Couldn't find my teaspoon, so I'm going to put 2 half teaspoons. 2 halves make a whole. So actually, let's put that back there. I'll put that back there. And I'm going to use a different spoon so I don't contaminate. And that takes a little bit longer to dissolve a solid. So I'm going to stir that up a little bit. But quite clearly, you can see that is making a very pretty blue. So we've got a base and we've got an acid. All right. And that's all. That's all you need to do. You make your indicator and then you drop a little bit of whatever you want in there, and that's your experiment, and you can figure out if things are acids or bases based on the color they turn out. This is not a terribly strong base, baking soda, but if you find some bases that are a little bit stronger, it's going to turn it more on the green end of things. And anything that's neither nor, so for instance, if we added water to this, it really wouldn't change the color. So if it stays very purple, it means it's fairly neutral. It's neither acid nor base. All right. So we've got our indicator now, our cabbage indicator, and we've done our first 2 experiments. So you've got the start of your scale. And scientists actually call this a pH scale. It's just its name. And it shows the acidity of a substance. So the further this way you go, the more acidic, and the further this way, the more basic. And right here in the middle, you get neutral, neither acid nor base, and that's water. Water is neutral. And I put a couple things on here to show you, to give you examples. Hydrochloric acid, a pretty strong acid, it's number 1. And all the way over here at number 13, you've got Drano. And that's that stuff that they use to clean, to like dissolve everything out of drains. Pretty nasty stuff. You would not want to be messing around with that or getting that on your hands. So often when people talk about acids, they think of those as being very scary, the strong acids, but actually strong bases or strong alkalis are equally scary and equally something that you shouldn't be messing around with. So we're going to try and keep this nice and safe as you do your experiments at home. So what are some other things that you could test? Actually, let's first of all add our lemon juice is also a strong acid, and that goes about here. Remember how it turned our indicator a pretty strong pinkish reddish color. And then baking soda, which turned our indicator kind of bluish, nice bright blue, kind of turquoise, is a 9. So as you go further this way, your cabbage indicator juice will get more green. Like Drano would turn it bright green. But you're probably going to find some things in here, in this range and in this range. And as you line up, as you do all your experiments, you can line them up and then add them onto your own indicator scale. But what can you test? What kinds of things can you test? I gathered a few things that I want to test. So let me lift that away. All right, so I'm going to bring this forward a little bit. Here are some of the things that you might want to test at home. So we've got some window cleaner. That's pretty safe, not too dangerous. Laundry soap. You could test your shampoo. You could test your toothpaste, right? What are some other things? Ketchup. I want to know where ketchup falls on the scale. Or jam, right? How about jam? We've got some vinegar. Right here I've got apple cider vinegar, but actually, and I've got balsamic vinegar. You could, any kind of vinegar that you've got would be fine to test. Milk, I thought would be interesting. If you've got something that's a solid, like I have some garlic here, garlic powder, you can just dissolve that right into your indicator. Or if you had something like, I don't know, a banana, you could smush it up a little bit. Or right here I've got pickles. You could just maybe cut off some little pieces and smush them and put them into the indicator and see what happens. So you can test all these things and make your own, keep your own notes, be a acid-base scientist, right? And another thing that you could do if you wanted to go the lifeguard route, you could soak a coffee filter or any kind of absorbent paper, really, like a paper towel or something, into your indicator, and then let it dry somewhere. Somewhere probably on, like right here, I've got sort of a plastic, we call it our art mat. We don't mind if it gets all messy, so don't put it on a table or something. Put it somewhere where it can dry and not stain anything. And then when it's dry, cut it into little strips, and then you'll have your own sort of litmus paper. It won't really be litmus, but it'll be cabbage indicator paper. And one other thing that you could do with all this that we thought would be really fun, my daughter and I thought would be fun, is make some secret messages. If you've seen my secret codes video, you will know that that has been something that people have been working on throughout history, is ways of writing secret messages. And you can use what you know about indicators and acids to make your own secret messages. But I'll let Lily explain that to you. All right? Okay, so have fun with some cabbage chemistry.
Hi, I'm Lily, and I'm going to teach you how to make secret messages with lemon juice and cabbage juice.
All right, so Lily is going to paint a message, a secret message, using her lemon juice. And what we know about our cabbage juice indicator is that it's going to turn that lemon juice red, right, or pink. So you can write your message, but you have to let it dry. And then afterwards, once it's all dry, you're going to paint it over with your cabbage juice. We'll see what happens. All right, so while Lily leaves that one to dry, she's got one that she made a little bit earlier. And she's going to go ahead and brush, but let's wipe off your brush first. And then pop it in the... And her message...
Oh, this smells bad.
It does smell bad. It's cabbage juice. Her message is going to be revealed. All right. And show it up to the screen. says yummy scone.
It's completely random.
All right. And that's what you can do with your, another thing that you can do with your cabbage juice indicator. All right. Well, till next time, have fun.